came back from the store to get some parts. Here is what I got today. Got the air filter. As I showed you guys, the other one was extremely clogged up. That's step number one. Got the engine flush. I've never tried this one, but apparently in 5 minutes it kind of cleans up the engine. So what you're supposed to do is that you're supposed to warm up the engine, then shut it down, and once the engine is shut down, what you would do is that you would pour this into the crankcase, and then you would turn on the engine once again. You would let it run for another 5 minutes, stop it, and then do your oil change. So that's what we're gonna do. Next thing that I got was some spark plugs. So there's 4, here are 2, and I have another 2 right here. So we have those. We got a Fram Extra Guard oil filter. It's kind of small, not used to some small filters like that, but anyways, that's what it takes. With that, we got some oil, Castrol GTX for high mileage, not necessarily too much mileage, but it says for vehicles over 120,000 kilometers. So the Subaru has 180,000 kilometers, so this should do the trick. I'll be adding some Lucas into it as well, and then some fuel injector cleaner as well from STP. So we're going to be pouring that into the gas tank, and finally some degreaser so that I can clean up around the engine bay if there's some oil drips or whatsoever. Actually, and that's not it. Then we have some glue, some gel. So what I'll be doing is this light is broken, all fogged up, so I'll be removing it tonight. I will glue it. Once it's glued, I'll try to sand it and try to buff it. At the same time, I'll let the interior kind of dry off just so there's no humidity. We'll see what it looks like. This is it. Pouring the STP in, all of it. Why? So this is what they say. Why put clean oil in a dirty engine? I don't know. I guess we shouldn't. So poured the entire bottle into the crankcase. So this is what we got. Opening this up, and we will be pouring the full bottle into it. Open it up. There we go. We'll let it run. So the engine is running right now. I have to leave it on for 5 minutes so that the engine cleaner actually, you know, circulates through the engine. So in the meantime, what I'll do is I'll remove the backlight here. Looks quite easy, to be honest. It looks like just a regular screwdriver, or probably a 10 millimeter. Yeah, that's exactly it. So 10 millimeter. Seems like it's only 2 bolts. So here's a connector, so you just have to pull it and like that. Oh, there you go. So this is it. This is what I was pulling. So as you can see, it's a piece of metal that's in plastic, but because of the rust, it was just so tough to remove. So you have the 2 screws, then you have this, you just pull it off and unclip this guy. So what we're gonna do is, as you guys can see, there's some water on the inside of the headlight, of the backlight, I mean. So we'll try to see if we can somehow clean it up. Like I said, if not, we'll replace it. So apparently they make this quite easy to access. Now we're gonna go under the car. It's already jacked up, as you guys can see. Here, and the engine's gonna be warm. Not sure if you guys can see this, but right there, there's a plug. This is the oil oil pan, so we're going to be taking that off. And apparently, I believe right there is the oil filter, but I'll have to go underneath, so we'll give that a shot. We'll remove this, the pan underneath, and I'll be right back. Well, looks like I wasn't recording. I explained a whole bunch of stuff, and as you can see, drain plug's already off, and this is draining. You can see it pour. It's dark, but ultimately I had to remove the nut that we have right here that was completely seized in there, surprisingly. So I took one of these bigger wrenches, I added some torque to actually pull on it, and now it's good to go. So I'm letting it drain, and once this is drained, I'll be putting the plug back on and then search for the filter. But I can't see where the camera is, but I'm assuming it's right there from what I saw in the picture. So this is it, the old oil. You smell this? Woohoo! Yeah, so this is what it looked like. It's not even brown, it's black. It was definitely due. What I've always been doing, good or bad, I've been smelling the oil just to see if it smells like gas. If there's gas mixing up with the oil, apparently it's not necessarily a good thing. It means that the engine is not in good condition. So when I'm smelling this, it smells like oil. It smells like crap. It doesn't smell like fuel, so I'm assuming we're good. So next step is I did put the plug back on, and I'll be checking for the oil filter to see if I can find it. It's getting a bit dark, so I'll finish up with the oil that we're gonna put in, and tomorrow I will be doing the spark plugs and the air filter. The air filter is super easy to do, but like I said, it's getting quite dark, so, and cold, actually windy, so we'll get this done. This, folks, is something that I strongly believe in, some Lucas oil stabilizer. It has not proven me wrong so far. It does quiet down the engine if ever you do have some valve ticking. You know, if the engine's not damaged, if you have some valve ticking, do have some minor noise, man, put some in, and you'll see it does miracle. Look at this, how thick it is. So I thought I'd be done for tonight, but you know what? While I'm at it, might as well just put the air filter there. It's quite easy to do, so let me set this up here. So you have your plastic shield with just 2 clips that you can just pull off. Oh, that's a fool. Remove it. Oh, this. So this, that. Clip this, put this back in, watch the cable, and this is it. It takes 5 minutes to do. Now we can put the front plastic back into place. Oh. There we go. It's there, guys. It is done. Air box is back there. Yeah, it's getting quite dark on the camera, so we'll turn on the car for a bit. Just make sure that the oil can circulate properly. We'll shut it off and we'll start back up tomorrow. Woohoo! Sounds good. So I just finished doing a bit of work on the backlight. The backlight needed to have the case glued and then buffed up so that the crack doesn't show up, and the interior cleaned as well. So here's what I did. So right now I'll be drying it because there's a whole bunch of condensation inside the headlight, but I poured some Pepsi, some Coke into it, and let it sit overnight so that it eats up all of the crap from the old condensation that was stuck in it. So now what I'll have to do is I'll probably try to put a fan, a radiator fan, to dry it up quick, so that the condensation goes away. Once the humidity and the condensation is gone, then I'll try to glue this part on and try to sand it, wet sand it, and then buff it to kind of make it fit in. And if this doesn't work, well, you know what? I will not have invested any cash into it, and I'll just go buy another one. So I'm putting the fan like that so that the warm temperature actually moves up and that it evacuates through the crack. So at the very least, it's not going to stay stuck on the inside, because the plugs are at the back here and the condensation is probably not going to escape as good as from the top here. So this is warm, so we'll leave it like that for about probably an hour or two until the condensation is gone. Then we'll try to seal it up and see what comes out of it. So I just finished changing up the spark plugs, and I didn't film any of it because I'll be honest, it was slightly a pain in the ass to get to. As you know, these Subaru engines, they're boxer engines made actually sideways, so the heads are on the side, meaning that the pistons are on the side, meaning that the spark plug's on the side. But I'll still take some time to show you guys how I did this and how you can access the spark plugs without necessarily going through too much hassle. So first things first, I had to remove the air box that is here with the air filter that I showed you guys earlier on how to change, so that I can access the spark plugs from the side here. So you would pull this off, pull that one off, and then you have, on this side, you have enough spot to fit a ratchet in and remove them. So this is quite easy, this is quite straightforward. However, the other side, one spark plug is right here and the other spark plug is at the back there. As you can see, there's not a lot of room, so you can't necessarily use them like those big ratchet extensions. You need to remove this cap, remove the other cap, and find a ratchet extension that's going to fit here. If ever you don't have any, unbolt the battery, unbolt this plastic piece. It should give you enough space sideways to put a longer extension. But from there, just remove the spark plugs, tighten them back in, make sure that they are tight enough, but that you don't strip the head. I see a lot of people talking about stripping the head, wanting to tighten their spark plugs too tight. Do not do that mistake. It's going to cost you thousands of dollars. So anyways, this is it. I'll show you guys the extension that I use and what length I use. This is kind of the perfect length that I managed to access all of the spark plugs with. So a small extension to a tiny extension to the actual 5/8 spark plug nut. So yeah, this is what I did. So here are the spark plugs that we removed, just to show you guys the condition of them. So it doesn't necessarily look horrible, but you know, I don't know when they were changed last. So for $20, it's better just to change them up and just put it in your logbook, if you have a logbook, that it was done at a certain amount of kilometers. That way you know for next time that it was actually completed. So should be good to go for another, I don't know, 60,000 kilometers at the very least.